You're tuned in to BS with Joe, the podcast where common sense still makes sense. We break down the news, the culture, and the crazy, one blunt conversation at a time. Buckle up. This is going to be good. So, welcome to a new series called Against the Will.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about in this one, we're going to go over background checks and firearms ownership.
Yep. So, 9 out of 10 Americans, meaning 90% of Americans, were for background checks. That includes Republicans, Democrats, gun owners, non-gun owners. They all said the same thing. We support universal background checks for firearm purchases. 90% of you. And Congress failed to pass it. Why?
Well, it's because it's very, very difficult to try to pass a background check. Like, you go to a gun show, you see an individual walking around with a firearm in his backpack and a sign sticking out that says "gun for sale" on top of the sign in the barrel of the firearm. You think he's a private vendor? No, he's just somebody at the gun show trying to sell his firearm to buy another firearm.
But even NRA members had majority support of background checks.
Yeah, but how's that going to happen with the private seller? But there's things like cashless bail, background checks.
You need to provide an ID to buy cold medicine these days.
Yep. The thing is like with, universal background checks, it's a fantasy.
Right. So back when I was younger, I actually did have a FOID card.
Okay.
And it was a firearms owner's identification card in the state of Illinois. I think they might have been the only state that did it.
Yeah, Illinois is the only state you could get it.
So you pass a background check, you carry the card, you still own your firearms. For me, it felt like a fair safeguard. But here's the other side of it. The courts have actually ruled FOID requirements are unconstitutional. So while I might call it reasonable, legally, it doesn't stand up under the scrutiny of the Second Amendment.
No, it doesn't.
So if Congress did vote it in, is the Supreme Court going to shut it down?
Yeah, pretty much. Because, and they're already doing that with, like, concealed carry permits, things like that. The FOID card was supposed to be like just a card that allows you officers to see that this individual is not a criminal, basically, and
you've done a background check,
and they've done everything to get a firearm,
right? Everything legally,
and this allows them to have a firearm,
right?
The government doesn't allow you to have a firearm to defend yourself. The Constitution allows you to have a firearm to defend yourself.
So, you said that you didn't really support background checks because of cashless bail.
Yes.
So how is that related?
So cashless bails, you get out. So let's say somebody commits a crime. They go to get a bail hearing, and they're going to let them loose. They're going to let them free. He's going to go to that guy at a gun show that had the firearm sticking out of his backpack, because they don't check you when you go into a gun show if you've been a convicted criminal or if you're...
No, anybody can walk into a gun show.
Yeah. And you're going to look for that guy with that sign to sell that firearm. You're going to buy that firearm, and you're going to commit another crime. So cashless bail is where we're failing.
Basically what you're saying is fix the revolving door first.
Fix that revolving door. You're going to solve a lot of your firearms related incidents.
Yeah,
because if somebody is an armed robber, what's the first thing he's going to do? He's going to look for a firearm to commit more robberies, especially if he got arrested and was released. He's not going to feel like as if, they released me. I did this heinous thing with this firearm. They released me. I'm going to go get another firearm, continue doing that because that's the only way of living I know.
So here's where the government comes in. All right, 1993, the Brady Act.
Yeah.
Okay. 2013, the Manchin Toomey Agreement. And then 2021, House 8, H.R. 8 was voted on and failed.
Yeah.
So 1993, Congress passes the Brady Gun Violence Protection Act. Laws created the NCI or NICS system, the background checks we still use today.
Yeah.
That's the next system you're talking about.
That's the NICS system that you go through if you go
Right.
to fill out 4473.
But Brady only covers licensed gun dealers.
Yep. And that's where the individuals at the gun shows with the firearms sticking out of a backpack with gun for sale, they don't have to go through that because they're not a FFL. So they don't have to go through that background check.
Right.
Now, the government's trying to pass universal background checks so that way they could get these individuals. And you would have to then, if you want to go sell a firearm, you have to walk with this individual to someplace like a gun store to
Get the
have that gun store provide that NICS check
They're
for
not
you.
going to do it.
They're not going to do it. They don't have any requirement to do it. It's going to be against their business. If I had a gun store, I wouldn't want to do NICS checks for some Joe Schmo trying to sell firearms in my store.
No, because he's got a liability problem now.
Yep,
Yeah, get out of my store.
exactly. Because now if they go ahead and they fail that NICS check, but they go to the parking lot and then they
Sell it anyway?
Sell it anyway?
Now
that
gun
store's-
store's got liability. Yep.
Yeah.
So then in April 2013, this Manchin Toomey Amendment. You remember that one?
No, I do not.
So just before the vote, the poll showed a 90% American approval for universal background checks, and it failed. They didn't vote it in.
Well, it's probably because they knew that it would overwhelm the. Because if a universal background check was to happen in any state or area, you would have to create a division just to do that for individuals who have firearms. First, you got to create like a registry,
Right.
and then you got to have people apply for this. And how they know that they got to apply for this, they don't know.
Yeah, the Senate voted 54 to 46 in that one. It requires 80 to pass.
Yeah, it would be so difficult, so monumental to try to pass. And then even if it did pass, it may get shot down in the Supreme Court.
So then I also mentioned H.R. 8. That was 2021. That's the most recent one. Okay?
Yes.
The polls in 2021, the poll showed 84% support. And the House vote was 227 to 203 to pass it.
Yeah.
So it went to the Senate and died.
It went to the Senate and died. And that's a good thing. I hate any kind of gun control because it's just going to make things harder for law-abiding people. Like I was saying, the criminal, they know where to try to find guns. And to be honest with you, the individual selling that firearm, if they have any suspicion that that person's a criminal, they have actually a responsibility not to sell that firearm to them. But they're going to still say, oh, I didn't know he was a criminal.
So it didn't get voted on in Congress. So that you get different reasons for that. There's filibusters, okay, which I don't know if that happened or not, but you need 80 votes to pass it. So they probably they knew they didn't have the numbers.
Yeah, 80%, that's ridiculous. It's almost impossible to pass.
80 votes. It's not 80%. It's 80 votes.
80 votes. 80
Yeah.
votes, it's still difficult to pass, but it could be done.
Yeah, because that's more than 80%.
But the thing is like, a part of me is wondering with these polls and having all these people wanting background checks, the people that they're probably polling are individuals who are uneducated in firearms or how to obtain a firearm,
But if
or the
you're talking
difficulties
about
to get a
84
firearm.
If you're talking about 84% positive, and it included gun owners and even NRA members.
Yeah. Well, it sounds good. Like here's the thing. They don't want criminals to have firearms.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. But the criminals are going to find ways of getting it. They're going to steal it. They're going to buy it at a gun show. And that's what they're saying when they talk about gun show loopholes. It's not the vendors. It's individual sellers who is trying to upgrade their firearms or buy a new firearm, and they have a firearm that they no longer want and they want to sell. And they don't want to sell it to a gun store because they're going to give them low ball prices.
Let's look at the money. All right. In 2021, the NRA, the Gun Owners of America, the firearm industry outspent reform groups like Everytown, Giffords, and Brady millions poured into lobbying senators
Yeah.
in 2021.
Yeah. Well, you
So basically, here's what it comes down to. If you're a senator, okay, angering the gun lobby is the end of your career.
oh yeah.
Angering the American people, you're going to get revoted into office.
Yeah, because they're not going to do this research to know who you are and what you voted for.
It costs them
against.
nothing.
Yes.
Yep. So then there's the fallout. Every time there's a mass shooting, outrage spikes, people demand action, Washington shrugs. And the message is clear. 90% of us don't matter.
No.
But let's be real. Background checks are not a magic solution.
No.
They wouldn't have stopped a single one of those mass shootings. Not one of them.
No, because each one of the mass shooters, they didn't commit a crime. So if they were even to apply for a firearm and get it, they would pass a background check.
Columbine was a straw purchase.
That was a straw purchase. It's because they were underage.
Sorry. Scam likely.
Yes.
So, and then Sandy hooks were stolen.
Yes.
Yep. Charleston slipped through a loophole. And then Sutherland Springs was a reporting failure.
Well, you even look at
Las Vegas, they were all legal. All of them.
right. Well, you even look at all the individuals who shouldn't have a firearm that get them anyway. Like
The Parkland guy passed the check.
yeah, the Parkland guy passed the check because he did everything right.
Yep.
You look at Hunter Biden; he passed the check.
Uvalde was a legal purchase at 18.
Yes.
Those are all mass shootings that the background checks wouldn't have changed at all.
Well, and they're also you look at the far left is saying how Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have had a firearm. He did everything legally.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, he shot people, but he shot people in self-defense.
Right.
That's what everything about the Second Amendment's for.
Yeah. So what it boils down to is if 90% of the American people are telling Congress that there's something they want and Congress does nothing, who does Congress represent?
They represent themselves. I don't think they represent the people. Like you were saying, they don't want to piss off the gun lobbies because they piss off the gun lobbies. That's the end of their career, especially if they're Republican. Now, if they're a Democrat, they understand they're probably going to get their money from Moms Demand Action.
Yeah. Probably.
And so they can't piss them off and vote for no gun control or freeing up our rights for the Second Amendment because they know if they pass that, they're not going to get funding from Moms Demand Action.
Right. You're absolutely right. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. I think
it's just one of those kind of things that, you know, the left want to go for gun control, the right say they don't want gun control.
The right's stance, as far as what they've publicly said, is they feel like background checks would burden law-abiding citizens.
They would burden law-abiding citizens, and not only that, but it would burden the local governments. Your local municipalities, do you think they have the funding to do all these background checks and check all this? No, they don't.
You used to be able to walk into a police station, a local police station, and ask for your fingerprints to be done so you could send them to the FBI or the CBI or whoever is in your state. Mm-hmm. You can't do that anymore. They won't do it for you.
No, you got to get your fingerprints done somewhere else. And well, it depends on your state. Like here in the state of Florida, that's how you get your concealed carry permit. Mm-hmm. You have to go get your fingerprints done. You got to go through a class.
You can't go to the local police department to have your fingerprints done.
No.
You used to be able to.
You used to be able to. Now you got to find someplace that'll do it. And here's the thing. The police department now have to believe that those are your fingerprints.
Right.
Because you could have fingerprints, your brother's fingerprints.
I think it was better off when the police did it themselves.
Right, because they know it was the individual's fingerprints.
Right. So, anyway, this has been against the will. And I'm sure somebody's got a comment to leave us on this one.
Yes. Please share, like, subscribe. But that's all we have.
And tell us where you stand. What do you think Congress should do?
Are you for universal background checks? If so, tell us how you think it should be implemented.
Yeah.
If you're for Second Amendment rights, let us know. If you're against Second Amendment rights, let us know.
Please.